fans, we are getting ready to prepare. We're getting ready to prepare for the next bout. A lot of preparation goes into these things. We will be getting underway here shortly with the next bout. We just wanted to let you know one more time as our teams get ready for safety checks and team intros here momentarily. One more time, Derby fans, during game action, please remain behind that yellow line on the ground surrounding the track. Make sure you are behind that yellow line at all times during game action. It's critically important for two things. One, it keeps you out of the line of fire of skates and things coming off the track. And two, keeps you out of the way of our bout production staff, our referees, our photographers, and such. So once again, fans, it is critically important during game action. So basically from the first whistle until the quarter break, you have to stay behind that yellow line, which is super duper important when the warehouse is crowded like it is tonight. And as if on cue, our teams are going to be lining up for safety checks now. Our regulator staff, who we introduced you to before the first bout, will be checking the teams for safety here. And then we'll get underway with the festivities for our second bout of the evening.
First intro? I don't know. Hold on. Mine's still in the Coffin Draggers. Yes. Sorry, I was gonna say I hadn't moved mine.
Okay.
So you're up first.
Okay.
All right. Are they? Not quite. Still on safety check since there's 800,000 coffin draggers.
I'm going to be busy for a few minutes.
Coffin draggers, page 2. All right. Literally, come on, Streak. All right. I can't tell if she's just checking or chatting. All right. Okay. Floor is ours. So we got to do the welcome back to Hickey. I'll start it off. All right, Phoenix, are you ready for some roller derby? Excellent. Now I want you to blow the freaking roof off this place when I say, are you ready for some roller derby? Welcome back. I'm your announcer, Old Greg. It is Arizona's only live bank track roller derby in the Hall of Dame.
And I'm Kills Bill. We saw a great first game here. Now get ready for the second game. These two teams are warmed up and ready to battle. Just a reminder, no whistling as it interrupts the game. Keep your hands, feet, legs, and everything else outside of the track for your safety. With that being said, let's get this game started. Now introducing the prettiest girls in the morgue, your Coffin Draggers. Skating tonight for the Draggers, number 90210, Beverly Kills. 616, Craven Cadavers. Number 101, Devil's Advocate. 6553, Devachka DeLarge. Number 651, Grace Ventura. Skating for her first bout tonight, number 1951, Hellatrix Lestrange. Number 27, Laura Stabs. 7780, she's Moxie Mausoleum. Number 1012, Skeletina. Number 7, the Destroyer. 1890, Victoria Van Gore. Number 1029, Reckless Rose. 7656, Zombaby. Number 30, Zora La Bruja. Your co-captain tonight, number 23, Tyranny. And number 803, their captain, the Panda Face Killer. Helping the Coffin Draggers on their bench tonight are their bench coach, Ridiculous, penalty manager, Grantula. Not skating tonight, number 8, Ginger Mortis, and number 217, Vavadoo.
And now introducing those bullies of the blacktop, the Schoolyard Scrappers. Skating tonight for the Scrappers, number 918, Ballistic Buffalo. Number 1212, Bonnie Banshee. Number 1235, Bob Villain. Number 0 to 60, Carla Dang. Number 1984, Cruisin' for a Bruisin'. Number 724, Dolly Spartan. Number 31, Felony Storm. Number 144, IV Overdose. Number 68, Juicy Kill Tour. Number OMG, Killin' May Smalls. Number 5, Made in Asia. Number 172, Pikachu. Number 619, Shorty Fierce. Number 1976, Striker Down. Number 241, Horchata. Number 34, your co-captain, Pretty Hurt Machine. And wearing number 669, your captain of the Schoolyard Scrappers, Nikki Bettis. Helping the team on our bench tonight, our bench coach, Bobby Ross, and penalty manager, Hate Ya Face. Nobody's not skating tonight. The Schoolyard Scrappers are at full strength.
All right, folks, taking the track. That's Devil's Advocate out there for the Coffin Draggers.
And taking the line for the Schoolyard Scrappers, it's Pretty Hurt Machine. We are about to get underway. This is to decide the last spot in the finals in 2 weeks, and we are underway. First quarter is underway. Both jammers push down off onto the infield, trying to find an opening along the inside. And now outrunning that defense to the front of the pack, Pretty Hurt Machine is out, and she's your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Coffin Draggers got a solid wall at the back of the pack. Pretty Hurt Machine trying to work her way through it.
Devil's Advocate was able to get out of the pack, made her way through. Pretty Hurt Machine trying to work her way into the pack as far as she can, and indeed completes the scoring pass. And Schoolyard Scrappers strike first, 4 points on the board. It's going to be Dolly Spartan for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
And Skeletina out there for the Coffin Draggers. Wearing that pentagram star.
Both jammers now kind of disappearing into the pack of blockers. Skeletina pops out along the inside, now trying to find her way along the rail. The defense pushing along there. Her pivot just bring her loose. Skeletina able to shake free, and now lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Dolly Spartan is pinned in behind the defense and trying to get out. Collision there along the front stretch. And Skeletina calls it off.
Coffin Draggers able to put up 2 points on the board during that jam.
That's going to be Felony Storm jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers as jam number 3 is underway, and breaking free at the front of the pack is Victoria Van Gore.
Van Gore hit to the low, but she was able to hang on to that coping, stayed on the track.
Felony Storm literally tiptoeing along the coping and is out of the pack as well. Big collision, a couple skaters down as Victoria Van Gore hits the pack at the beginning of her scoring pass. Gets as far in as she can and calls off the jam. 3 points for the Coffin Draggers, puts them in front 5-4 for the moment. And we are going to have our first power jam of the bout. It is Devil's Advocate number 101 on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. We did have a penalty called on the jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. So Coffin Draggers with a golden opportunity here early on the power jam. And with one of their most talented jammers at the jammer line, Devil's Advocate, who goes by Hurricane May when she's skating under the banner of the All-Star team, the Arizona Hotshots. Devil's Advocate now tries to spin along the inside. Block sprung there by Bob Villan, and Devil's Advocate able to get around it. Now the pack trying to make its way through. Devil's Advocate still trying to get past those two blockers, able to spin around them and get past them in the turn. 14 seconds left to go in the Coffin Draggers power jam. Devil's Advocate's got some time to make another scoring pass, or at least make an attempt. Coffin Draggers have one of the Schoolyard Scrappers skaters pinned in behind them. And able to finish that scoring pass just before the jam clock expires. Devil's Advocate. 10 big points on the board for the Coffin Draggers early in a bout which we're 4 jams into. It's already clear is going to be absolutely every point's going to be critical.
Jamming for the first time tonight, Destroyer.
And jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers is Dolly Spartan. A lot of frenetic action.
Faster pack this time. Dolly Spartan gets taken out to the infield. Destroyer and Dolly Spartan get into a jammer race, and Destroyer calls it off. No points on that jam.
So we'll reconvene for the next, but even in that small amount of time, we did have a penalty assessed, but we're going to have a timeout here, so I'll stop rushing.
Skating out of bounds for Dolly Spartan.
But before we get to that, we are going to get a challenge, so indeed. So a challenge by the Schoolyard Scrappers is going to use one of their 3 official challenges here to challenge that ruling. Once again, as Bill just mentioned, a skating out of bounds penalty assessed to their jammer in the previous jam in just that brief time.
Hey, folks, let you know the minor assaults are out there selling golden eggs, $20 each. There are 20 chances to win 4 different tickets to Disneyland. It's a raffle. So you buy an egg, and inside there's lots of different prizes, gift cards to Fox Restaurant Concepts, In-N-Out Burger, lots of stuff. But the grand prize is a grip of tickets to go see Disneyland, to go see the Magic Kingdom with the mouse. Get your tickets over at the popcorn stand or look for the miners running around selling those golden eggs. Support the minor assaults, guys. I've also been informed that the 50-50 raffle is up to $375.
$375 for that 50-50 raffle. That means half of that back to the winner and half to support the minor assaults again. So Make sure you grab some of those tickets to see if you can get a piece of that cash prize.
Hey, folks, take a minute to tell you about Siphon Draw Apothecary Shop. They're a feature all-natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare products made by our very own Dolly de los Muertos. Visit them at the Goldfield Ghost Town on the historic Highway 88. That's Siphon Draw Apothecary.
We'd like to let you know about the Derby Dames April charity. The charity of the month is 1 in 10, established in 1993. 1 in 10 is the only nonprofit organization in Arizona with the explicit mission to serve LGBTQ youth and is committed to improving their quality of life through donations, clothing, housing, education, and social programs. They're always looking for donations and volunteers. For more information about how to get involved, please stop by their booth that is here tonight outside in the Vendor Village, or go online to www.onein10.org. That's 1, the letter N, the word 10.org. And after official review, we've gotten word from the infield. Penalty upheld. So challenge unsuccessful, and the Schoolyard Scrappers forfeit a timeout here in the early going, just 5 minutes into the bout. On the unsuccessful official challenge, so we'll be getting back to the action here momentarily. Once again, another power jam for the Coffin Draggers, a great chance for them to build on their early lead, and it will be Devil's Advocate doing the jamming for the Coffin Draggers.
Both teams are at full strength with blockers in the box, so Devil's Advocate's going to have a big pack to get through. Knocked to the infield by Bob Villan there. Trying to make her way out of the pack on the low, goes up to the high side, and she gets out.
Able to shake free there. Coffin Draggers pinned in one of the Schoolyard Scrappers behind a wall, which split the pack up, and then those front blockers thereafter were out of play and had to stop blocking. They can block now, though, and they do, pinning off that route by the rail that Devil's Advocate was aiming for. Now, once again, same strategy in play. The Draggers holding back that back blocker, and you see there with the hands going up, those front blockers out of play. 15 seconds to go in the power jam. Now the Schoolyard Scrappers able to break the defense and get together at the front of the pack, so now the strategy shifts. And now Devil's Advocate trying to find an opening through a unified wall of blockers at the front of the pack. Scrappers holding strong, and the clock is going to expire on the power jam. A lot of strategy to study there. You saw definitely a very different strategy there during that last scoring attempt when the Schoolyard Scrappers were able to break the defense. 7 points during that jam.
We got Victoria Van Gore returning to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. That's pretty hurt machine out there for the Scrappers. I see a lot of blue out there in the crowd. I see a lot of black out there in the crowd. Both teams excited to see this main bout tonight.
Pretty hurt machine blasting through the pack, and she is going to be your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Right out behind her, though, Victoria Van Gore putting the jammer start back on. Pretty hurt machine right through the pack. Schoolyard Scrappers able to open up a large passing lane there in the middle of the pack for Pretty Hurt Machine. Picks up her 4 points and calls off the jam. 8 minutes to go here in the first quarter, just a little more than halfway through the opening frame. It's 22-8 right now. Coffin Draggers in front on the back of 2 power jams so far. Dolly Spartan will be jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers here.
That's Devil's Advocate out there for the Draggers, knocked to the infield. Both jammers working their way through the pack in turn 1. Devil's Advocate able to get out on the low. You see her dancing along the coping.
Dolly Spartan now able to find her way along the inside and clear the pack for the Scrappers. Half a track behind Devil's Advocate. Devil's Advocate leaping over a sliding blocker with a shout going up from the crowd, jumping over a blocker that went for a low block.
I bet you guys didn't think you'd see a stunt show tonight.
Stepping up to the jammer line now for the first time here in the opening frame. Number 1212, Bonnie Banshee for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Before we get any further into that, we've got a timeout. And this is going to be a team timeout by the Schoolyard Scrappers. So Scrappers, another timeout used here in the first quarter in the early going. So only one timeout left for the rest of the bout for the Scrappers.
3 penalties on the Coffin Draggers on that jam. Looks like it's going to end up being a thin pack for them.
Are you a young lady between the ages of 10 to 17 who loves to skate, or do you know one who meets those simple criteria? Our Minor Assaults are a nonprofit 501c3 and are always looking for new skaters to join their team. Our coaches not only teach technique and knowledge of the sport, but they also help build leadership, teamwork, and problem-solving skills that'll help in life situations far beyond roller derby. Minor skating skills, dedication to learn, and a positive mental attitude are all that we require. Come see what all the fun is about. Ask any Arizona Derby dame how to get involved, or visit the website at azddinspire.org for information or donating on sponsoring, information on donating or sponsoring the Minor Assaults.
Hey, folks, one more reminder to stay behind the yellow line while skating action is happening right now. Like we said, that's Bonnie Banshee out there for the Scrappers. Skeletina out there going to do the honors for the Coffin Draggers. Bonnie Banshee takes the low, manages to hang on for just a second. She's your lead jammer.
And Bonnie Banshee looks like calls off the jam going down the back straightaway. And by the looks of things, it looks like it was an equipment malfunction. So Bonnie Banshee shook loose and saw her stumble there going into the back straightaway and then couldn't put that back skate down. So looks like the end result, though, is going to be a power jam for the Coffin Draggers. Indeed, we did have a penalty assessed to Bonnie Banshee there. So we're getting that sorted out over on the Schoolyard Scrappers bench. And the regulators checking in and making sure everything's set to go here. So again, it is going to be a Coffin Draggers power jam. And once again, Devil's Advocate on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. So Devil's Advocate trying to fight her way through the pack now. Running into that Schoolyard Scrappers defense at the front. A big hit there. I saw one of the defenders in black spin up to the front and take out one of the Schoolyard Scrappers, and that sprung Devil's Advocate loose. Down to the inside goes Devil's Advocate, trying to find a way along the inside. Schoolyard Scrappers trying to get their defenders united at the front. One of the Scrapper defenders down, and Devil's Advocate still stuck in behind some defenders now with just about 11 seconds to go in the power jam. And finishes off the scoring pass and goes ahead and calls off the jam.
Schoolyard Scrappers able to do a good job holding the Coffin Draggers jammer that whole jam.
So we have an official timeout. Regulators are going to stop the action here momentarily. And indeed going to get together here
And speaking of the regulators stopping the action, are you interested in being a part of the roller derby community, but hitting people isn't your thing? Our regulators are always looking for dedicated and eager minds to learn our rule set and help keep our ladies on the track safe. Our regulator team accepts all gender types, and there are various levels of officiating that go on during a roller derby bout. Come be a part of the action, help our league grow. Ask any skater or ref how to get involved. Like a shout out to Copper Star Coffee. Copper Star Coffee is celebrating their 13th birthday today. They were giving out free drinks. We saw a lot of you out there at our party today, but Copper Star Coffee, it's a locally owned coffee shop and cafe providing handmade drinks and award-winning baked goods. They're on the southwest corner of 7th Avenue and Heather Bray, just north of Indian School Road.
All right, as we suspected from up here in the announcer's nest, confirmed with the regulators, Bonnie Banshee blew a tire all to heck. And so they were going around and checking for pieces of the tire, making sure the track was clear. And we are back underway now. Dolly Spartan jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
That's Skeletina out there for the Coffin Draggers. Got her pinned up against the wall, against the rail by Killen May Smalls.
Making her way through is Dolly Spartan. And she is your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Skeletina now clears the pack as well, so Dolly Spartan's got one crack at a scoring pass here. Runs into some defense, trying to squeeze her way through, fights her way through the pack and calls it off. Skeletina coming in, blasting in there at the end and sliding in. Not able to pick up any points on the back end though, and 4 points for the Scrappers. 4 hard-earned points on the board here in the early going.
Got Destroyer out there for the Coffin Draggers. That's Felony Storm out there for your Schoolyard Scrappers. These two going to do battle for 60 seconds.
Felony Storm gets worked down along the inside, trying to find her way through the pack. Destroyer up to the front now, spins her way around a defender and fights her way to the front of the pack. Putting that star back on. The Destroyer is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Destroyer battling her way up along the rail on the high side. Felony Storm stuck behind a wall of 3 Coffin Draggers right now. Got Laura Stabs and Devotchka DeLarge holding her back.
Felony Storm again routed down along to the inside. Keeps getting spun off onto the infield. That wall of defenders at the back of the pack there by the Coffin Draggers. Really doing work during this jam. It's been almost a mini power jam with the Destroyer getting through as often as she did. That was Bob Villain. Juicy Kiltour was back there. Nikki Badass wearing the pivot stripe. I'm sure I'm missing giving credit there, but those defenders on the back end were really getting the job done for the Schoolyard Scrappers on that. So, we've got number 23, Tyranny, taking the jammer line for the first time for the Coffin Draggers, and it's Pretty Hurt Machine jamming for the Scrappers. And Pretty Hurt Machine able to blast her way through the pack, and she is your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
We've got a star pass. Tyranny handed that star off to Skeletina. And Skeletina tied up behind Killen May Smalls. Skeletina's now out of the pack. She's your trailing jammer. Pretty Hurt Machine's still going to try to get one more pass in.
So Pretty Hurt Machine trying to get a scoring pass done. Finishes it, gets what she can, calls off the jam as she slides into the rail at the top of the track. And it's 8 points for the Schoolyard Scrappers. It's going to take our score to 39-20 here. Coffin Draggers on top, but the Schoolyard Scrappers trying to chop into that lead. It's going to be Dolly Spartan jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And your jammer for the Coffin Draggers is Victoria Van Gore.
Dolly Spartan.
And Victoria Van Gore is spun down off onto the infield.
Victoria Van Gore running on her skates all the way around the top of the track.
Dolly Spartan able to get to the front of the pack first, though, and she's your lead jammer for the Scrappers.
Victoria Van Gore was gaining on Dolly Spartan the entire way. Dolly Spartan had to call off that jam as she rode to the back of the pack. Scrappers picked up 1 arms penalty on Nikki Badass. They're down a blocker. Here comes Juicy Kiltour, though, to the jammer line for the Scrappers. That's Tyranny back out there for the Coffin Draggers. Dancing along the low side. Tyranny's your lead jammer.
Juicy Kiltour runs up into a wedge shape of Coffin Dragger blockers. I'm trying to think of a fancy word for a wedge shape. I'm like, why don't I just say wedge shape? Anyway, Juicy Kiltour gets through the pack. Up to the front now. There is Tyranny trying to get through the pack. Had to get back up and reestablish to call off that jam. And it's 4 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers there. It looks like we've got a rotation. It is going to, again, be another power jam for the Coffin Draggers. This is the 4th power jam for the Coffin Draggers here in the opening frame, and that is definitely a big factor in why they've been able to open up this early lead here. So, power jam for the Coffin Draggers. Devil's Advocate racing through, jumps over a sliding blocker, and she's clear of the pack. Now up to the front of the pack, and Devil's Advocate able to push those blockers far enough away, fighting her way to get those blockers pushed more than 20 feet away from the pack. And they're called out of play, and she's able to shake her way on through. And now once again, same strategy at play. This time Devil's Advocate able to find a hole in the wall, able to get between Ballistic Buffalo and Nikki Badass. 10 seconds to go here in the Coffin Draggers Power Jam. The Devil's Advocate has her sights set on making one more attempt here. Runs up into the defenders who get her up into the wall. Nikki Badass able to bump her off onto the infield. Tries to get up and sort of do a quick jump around Nikki Badass there and not able to pull it off. And we will wait for the official score as the jam clock expires and the quarter clock expires as well. 12 points on the Coffin Draggers Power Jam there to close out the quarter, so they build on their lead. So we'll step into the quarter break with your score right now. Coffin Draggers 55, Schoolyard Scrappers 20.
All right, folks, get your green raffle tickets out right now. Green raffle tickets. Pink? Pink? I'm colorblind. How about pink raffle tickets? I don't know. Colorblind. Pink raffle tickets 898060. 898060.
What's that? On stuff here.
Oh, well, I'll buy us a different color. Got it? Right down here. Well, it's hard when karma and lightning and them are all eating on the Hey, members of the minor assaults, come up here and talk to Kenya Diggett. We need some people to throw stuff at the beginning of the next quarter. Hey, folks, still time to get some food before this next quarter starts. You can go get yourself something at the AZ Derby Dame Snack Bar. Be sure to visit the Derby Dame Snack Bar to grab a cold beverage, some chips, or some candy. All proceeds go back to the league, and your support is greatly appreciated. Also, the Cool Spot dessert truck is outside. They serve acai bowls and smoothies to nourish and refresh Arizona residents. It's a healthy, delicious alternative to quick food that will fuel your day. Off the Hook Taco Truck is still out there as well, a locally owned, operated taco truck serving Southern California Baja-inspired cuisine. They have chicken and vegetarian options available as well. Visit them outside if you're hungry for something delicious. All right, Derby fans, let's get back to the action. Devil's Advocate coming to the line to jam for the Coffin Draggers. Oh, it's Skeletina.
And jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers here in the first jam of the second quarter is Pretty Hurt Machine. We're underway, and Skeletina was quickly routed down to the infield, but able to get up and recover, and she finds her way to the front of the pack and is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. They're able to spring Pretty Hurt Machine loose, and so she's going to try to press the issue here. Skeletina skids down onto the infield and just able to get a wheel back on the track to call that jam off. We will wait for the score here. So 3 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers there.
Dolly Spartan out there for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Victoria Van Gore out there again for the Coffin Draggers. Both jammers try to get along the high side up by the rail. Fast pack working through turn 1 into turn 2. Dolly Spartan trying to get out of the pack, and she's your lead jammer. Victoria Van Gore is tied up at the back of the pack. A lot of blue in front of her, blocking her, holding her in. She's able to hand it off to Devil's Advocate, and Devil's Advocate is able to get out.
Devil's
Dolly
Advocate
Spartan working her way through a back of the pack. Coffin Draggers holding her back.
And that'll do it for the jam. Devil's Advocate coming in with a full head of steam. Dolly Spartan calls it off. 2 points on the board there for the Scrappers. It's going to be Ballistic Buffalo jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers for, I believe, the first time tonight. Up against Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers.
Draggers down a couple blockers right now, so it's a thin pack.
And you saw the Schoolyard Scrappers there immediately at the whistle, just sealed up to the outside. And Ballistic Buffalo shot through the pack like a ballistic missile. And it's your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Taking advantage of a staggered out pack now. Ballistic Buffalo weaves her way through, picks up her points, and calls off the jam. Four points up for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Trying again to hack into that Coffin Draggers lead, but points have been awful hard to come by. For both sides, to be fair, it has been a defensive showcase so far. That is the Destroyer jamming for the Coffin Draggers. And Pretty Hurt Machine for the Schoolyard Scrappers, able to find her way to the front of the pack. And she's your lead jammer for the Scrappers now. The Destroyer is now the star has been passed. There we are. I was gonna say, I saw the Destroyer, but no star on her head. So the star has been passed to Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. Pretty Hurt Machine finishing off the scoring pass and then calls off the jam. 4 more points on the board for the Scrappers.
That's Tierney out there for the Coffin Draggers for this next jam. Dolly Spartan coming back to the line for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Tierney trying the low side. Dolly Spartan able to get out on the high side. She is your lead jammer. Tierney about a quarter track, third of the track behind her.
Dolly Spartan now finding her way through the pack. Her blockers had that back part of the pack sealed off, able to find her way through a hole in the front wall. Dolly Spartan, 4 more points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers. 12 unanswered points for the Schoolyard Scrappers here to cut that lead to 58-34. Nobody in the penalty box at the moment. Juicy Kiltor in the jammer line for the Scrappers. And that's Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers, and she is right through the pack. Victoria Van Gore quickly up to the pack. A collision there and knocked off onto the infield. Juicy Kiltor out of the pack for the Scrappers and is going to force the issue here. And the jam is called.
Back out there on the lines, Tierney for the Draggers. That's Pretty Hurt Machine out there for the Scrappers. That's Pretty Hurt Machine able to get out there. She's your lead jammer for the Scrappers right now. Tierney jumps along the coping, and she's able to get out as well.
Pretty Hurt Machine swings wide to get a view of the pack, looking for an opening, trying to follow her blockers, but gets shoved down onto the infield. As she slides off the track, she calls off the jam. We'll see if she's able to get any points.
Both teams piled up there in turn 2. Wasn't really much of a path through.
And 1 point up on the board for the Scrappers there. Dolly Spartan to the jammer line for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
That's a Destroyer out there for the Coffin Draggers. Both teams at full strength out there.
The Destroyer tried to go mid-pack and just bully her way through.
Dolly Spartan held up behind a solid 3-wall of Coffin Draggers.
Destroyer her up to the front of the pack and able to find her way through. Says hello to her last blocker, who is out of play. And the Destroyer, your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Laura Stabs, Craven Cadavers, Devotchka DeLarge doing a really solid job keeping the Scrappers penned up at the back. Dolly Spartan unable to get by those 3.
The Destroyer now up to the rail, absorbs a block from Nikki Badass and powers her way on through to complete the scoring pass. With about 11 seconds to go in the jam, she's going to try to come around for some more points.
Destroyer calling it off up here in turn 4 by the rail.
And now setting up on the jammer line very briefly. It was going to be Bonnie Banshee. And I was going to comment on how nice she looks on 8 functioning wheels. But it's going to be a power jam instead. It is going to be a power jam for the Coffin Draggers once again. Sort of what they've used to build their lead tonight.
Dolly Spartan picking up a stopping penalty on that jam.
So the Schoolyard Scrappers out there on defense again. Nikki Badass at the front of the pack. And Devil's Advocate able to keep fighting along the way there and get those front blockers pushed out of play. And she's able to be let through halfway through the power jam.
Devil's Advocate able to dance her way through this pack of scrappers here at the front. Coffin Draggers holding one Schoolyard Scrapper on a wall, able to let Devil's Advocate push her way to the front. Keep scoring points that way.
So 10 points on the power jam for the Coffin Draggers. Stepping up to the jammer line is going to be Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers and Pretty Hurt Machine for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And there goes Victoria Van Gore right to the front of the pack for the Coffin Draggers. And she is your lead jammer. Pretty Hurt Machine trying to find some purchase now, trying to outrun that last blocker to the front of the pack, able to do so. Held up just enough to let that blocker spin by and able to clear the pack. So Victoria Van Gore finishes the scoring pass and calls off the jam. So the Coffin Draggers 4 more points on the board. Definitely put the kibosh on that Schoolyard Scrappers rally. The Coffin Draggers have built that lead back up as we go under 6 minutes to go until halftime. Dolly Spartan on the jammer line for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Skeletina.
And Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers. Dolly Spartan up to the high side of the track, able to find her way through the pack, and she is your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Skeletina kind of foisted along that defensive wall of the Schoolyard Scrappers and up to the rail. Dolly Spartan finding her way down to the inside of the pack, courtesy of a couple of blockers there by the Coffin Draggers.
Zombaby and Tyranny doing a pretty good job of holding Dolly Spartan back, keeping her in the pack effectively. The longer you hold her, the less time she has to try to score points later on.
So 5 seconds to go here on the jam clock. And that is going to do it for the jam clock. That jam clock expires as the skaters were coming through the turn there, and that collision was kind of already, not much you could do about avoiding that. That collision was sort of already in the progress of happening when the whistle blew, and that was a big collision there between Dolly Spartan and one of the blockers for the Draggers, but everybody back up on all 8 wheels.
Here comes Felony Storm and Victoria Van Gore to the line.
And the whistle blows. Victoria Van Gore immediately tries to run Felony Storm off onto the infield. Felony Storm, though, able to recover, and she's your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Under 4 minutes to go until halftime. Felony Storm now ran up into the rail, but able to walk her way down along that defensive wall and found the inside open. She finishes a scoring pass and is coming around for more now. And the Schoolyard Scrappers jammer still not out of the pack. Felony Storm finishes another scoring pass. The Coffin Draggers have passed the star cover, and taking over as jammer is Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. Felony Storm weaves her way through the pack, finishes off that scoring pass, and calls it off. "14-point power jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers, making the most of their opportunity there. And just like that, that lead does not look quite so insurmountable. Coffin Draggers in front 79-57 with about 2.5 minutes to go.
Looks like that's Tyranny out there for the Coffin Draggers. That's Pretty Hurt Machine going to be skating this for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Hurt able to get her way out on the low side. She's your lead jammer. Tyranny passed that star off to Skeletina is now your jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Yeah, it looks like star passes are part of the primary game plan for the Coffin Draggers here tonight. Big collision there. Getting through the pack and finishing it off. 3 points on the board there for the Schoolyard Scrappers, brings them up to an even 60 with 2 minutes to go till halftime. It is going to be Dolly Spartan for the Schoolyard Scrappers and the Destroyer for the Coffin Draggers. Full pack, nobody in the penalty box.
It's the Destroyer for the Coffin Draggers, working her way along the high side along the rail there.
Fighting her way to the
Dolly
front of the
Spartan
pack.
able to get out, yeah.
There she goes. Dolly Spartan, your lead jammer for the Scrappers. Scrappers again taking lead jammer here as we head into halftime. Scrappers trying to hack into that lead. It's under 20 at this point. Big collision there. A cheer from the crowd. Big collision right in front of the fans there along the back straightaway. The Destroyer able to battle her way to the front of the pack. Dolly Spartan now dealing with that defense there at the back end of the pack, and she goes ahead and calls off the jam, having zero luck finding her way past Laura Stabs. Three points on the board for the Scrappers, and they're going to send Juicy Kiltour to the jammer line.
That's Tierney out there for the Coffin Draggers. Less than a minute left in this half.
But before we get to that, we are going to have a stoppage in the action. And it's going to be an official timeout. I did see head referee Lollipop out there kind of convening a discussion as that whistle was being blown. So, step aside here briefly. Don't forget at halftime, we've got the Off the Hook taco truck outside, as well as the Cool Spot dessert truck. All sorts of fantastic smoothies and various acai bowls and granola bowls and what have you. Fantastic cool treat on a hot evening such as this.
Remind you folks about our raffle prizes. We've got a 50-50 raffle out there going on. The raffle, 50-50 raffle, half of that money goes to you, half of that goes to benefit our minor assaults program. That raffle's up to $400 right now, so just under $200 for each you and for the minor assaults. Also, our regular raffle prizes are going out. One of the prizes for that is a gift certificate to get a free tattoo. $200 value from Uncle Josh at Lost Dutchman Tattoo.
Also, don't forget the minor assaults are selling snacks. You've got popcorn for $1 per bag from the popcorn machine, which I can see from here. The light's still on, so that means they're still selling popcorn. And don't forget about the golden egg grab. $20 per golden egg. There's 20 opportunities for you to grab a prize, ranging from gift cards all the way up to Disneyland tickets. So $20 to get yourself a prize during the golden egg grab, and those proceeds benefit the minor assaults.
We just found out that the golden eggs have sold out.
Never mind. The golden egg grab is over.
We will be doing that raffle at halftime. So if you bought a golden egg, you're going to find out if you're a winner tonight.
Back to the action we go. 35 seconds to halftime, so this could be the last jam of the half. We've got a little bit of jostling going on here in the pack. We're going to have another stoppage in play here. The Schoolyard Scrappers skater Killa May Smalls that took a spill there just before the jam began. So she was able to get back to the bench. And she'll be checked out by the medical crew over there. Yeah, everybody's heart just up into their chest, dude. Something unusual like that happens like right before a jam. Really odd when you see a skater go down like that. So we hope everything's all right, and we will reconvene here in a moment and knock out these last 35 seconds. And then we'll all go to halftime, and we'll all calm down and take our blood pressure medication. Whew. All right, we're going to get back to the action. Once again, 35 seconds left at halftime. Tyranny for the Coffin Draggers and Juicy Kill Tour for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And there we go at the opening whistle, and Juicy Kill Tour able to rocket along the inside. Schoolyard Scrappers again use that break in the action to work on some strategy, and they did that swinging gate action and kind of closed off the pack to the outside. So Juicy Kill Tour out of the pack. Finishes off the scoring pass, and now she's going to try to pick up that last point with Skeletina. Was having to kind of focus on putting on the star cover. And Juicy Kill Tour trying to catch her. Skeletina is kind of an impromptu jammer race there. Getting back to the pack, and Skeletina able to stay in front of her, it looked like, all the way back to the pack. So 4 points for the Schoolyard Scrappers. It looks like we do have time for one more. Yeah, we're getting ready for one more jam here. So it is going to be Pretty Hurt Machine for the Schoolyard Scrappers and Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. Schoolyard Scrappers going to try to keep going into halftime on a high note. They have reeled off a bunch of points in a row here, and blasting through and taking the lead jammer status is going to be Pretty Hurt Machine for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Exiting the pack as well, there goes Devil's Advocate, so she's going to try to limit the damage the Scrappers can do here. Pretty Hurt Machine quickly to the front of the pack and goes ahead and calls off the jam, running into Panda Face Killer. That will take us to halftime. We're going to wait for the official score there. 3 points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers. That means the lead's down to single digits as we head into halftime, as we step aside for a 15-minute halftime break. Your lead right now, Coffin Draggers 79, Schoolyard Scrappers 70. I certainly hope you weren't planning on leaving, but if you were, don't.
All right, folks, put your hands together. Got some minor assaults out there giving away some merchandise. Let's hear it for these kids out there. Taylor Terror and Black Eyed Please out there. Pink raffle ticket, right?
Yeah, that's pink.
All right, also get your hands together, get your raffle tickets out. I got a pink raffle ticket here. Pink raffle ticket number 897982. 897982. Come on down, get your prize. And then if I could have everybody's attention looking up here, one of our other minor assaults, Amelia Derhart, had her 15th birthday today. Right? So when it's your birthday, you get to draw for prizes. So in front of everybody, making sure that this is legit. There's a Disneyland tickets right here, and Amelia Derhart is going to reach into the bucket and pick a number at random. Oh, you read it. Oh, I'll read it? Okay.
Read the back, the name's on 'em.
The name is on the back. Kristen Fain, a.k.a. Hate. Hate your face, going to Disneyland. I'm going to Disneyland! Happy birthday, big girl. Well, I think we know who won that prize. You can collect it later.
Yeah, that wasn't like when Travis was like, "Oh, I won, cool."
Right. And it's not awkward where I'm like, oh, look at that, I just won.
Oh, hey.
Hey now. Hey. And my kid drew the ticket number.
Yeah. Oh, the winner is.
No, your mom's happy.
You're like, oh, read the back. Oh, the winner is.
I called it already.
Yeah.
I called that one already.
Yeah. And the winner is me.
Lots of festivities tonight. Well, with all that excitement, make sure you're looking at that pink raffle ticket number 897982. If you've got pink raffle ticket number 897982, put your hands together or make some noise. Come on down and get your prize. Otherwise, we're going to give it away again.
Hey, Kenya. We'll probably announce it again after halftime in case they jumped up and left early in halftime.
So Clifton, looks like we got a little bit of halftime stats here. A little bit of analysis of some of the jammer stuff that's been going on tonight.
Yeah, taking a look right now at the stats. Again, the score right now, Coffin Draggers 79. Schoolyard Scrappers 70. That's an average points per jam of 2.4 for the Coffin Draggers and 2.1 for the Scrappers.
You know, equal lead jams, 15 and 17. That kind of makes sense with the score so close.
Yeah, but you see the really telling stat right there, next line down, jammer penalties. That's 5 power jams for the Coffin Draggers and zilch for the Schoolyard Scrappers. So that really is the difference right now and why the Coffin Draggers are holding that lead.
Yeah.
So as we head into the second half, or a minute to go, again, Schoolyard Scrappers had to use 2 timeouts early, one on a lost challenge and then a team timeout not long after. So they're heading into the second half here with just 1 timeout left. Coffin Draggers still with 2 heading into the second half.
Am I misremembering? I don't think there's been an overturned penalty yet on all those challenges.
Yet. No, not yet.
Yeah. So low scoring bout. That's a lot of defense out there. You see those walls and teams keeping the other jammer in. When you're able to get your jammer out, that limits the other team's score and their ability to score more than 4 points in a jam.
Hey, we'd like to thank our AV statistician, Becca Recker, for helping us out with those halftime stats. Been keeping track of things for us during the first half, helping us do a little bit of halftime analysis here on the halftime show. Now we'd like to send it from the studio back to the guys in the booth. That's still us. As we get ready to start the third quarter here, regulators checking in on a couple of things. It looks like we are ready to get things underway.
Regulators are giving us the guns up. They're about ready to go.
All right, we're ready to get back underway. 30 minutes to glory. And a spot in the finals for one of these 2 teams to go up against the Runaway Brides. Brides trying to defend their championship. Schoolyard Scrappers trying to get back and even the score from last year. Coffin Draggers trying to get to the title game. That is going to be, that is Devil's Advocate. And she turns slightly towards me. And Pretty Hurt Machine for the Schoolyard Scrappers. So here we go.
Devil's Advocate taken to the infield by Bonnie Banshee. Pretty Hurt Machine still doing battle up front with Tyranny taking down the track. They got to let her out, though.
There goes Pretty Hurt Machine. If you're just joining us, and if you are, why? But if you are just joining us, the first half was a half of runs. Schoolyard Scrappers got it within 20. Coffin Draggers pushed it back up to about 45, and then the Schoolyard Scrappers went on a furious run to close out the half. And they're picking up right where they left off last half. Fighting her way through the pack, picking up her points and calling off the jam is Pretty Hurt Machine. 4 more points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Dolly Spartan up to the jammer line now.
And that's Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers. We've seen this before.
Once or twice.
Draggers got a couple penalties on that last jam, so they've only got 2 blockers in the box right now. 1 offense, 1 defense. Dolly Spartan able to take advantage of that and get that straight away out, taking that high side. Skeletina still trying to work her way through the pack.
Skeletina able to outrun Ivy Overdose to the corner there. I think, nope, sorry, that's Bob Villain, my apologies. And Dolly Spartan finishes her scoring pass and calls it off with Skeletina rapidly coming on around the horn.
Once again, if you're able to get your jammer out, it really limits the other team's ability to score points.
4 more points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers, but it's not like there's any time, let's see here.
Looks like we might have a
That's what I was going to say.
cut penalty on the Coffin Draggers.
It's not like there's a good time to surrender your first power jam of the night. But at a time when your competitors have closed the lead to 1, it is a power jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Felony Storm out there all by her lonesome. And the Schoolyard Scrappers are going to look to not only take the lead, but build a lead here with the power jam.
Coffin Draggers got her held up at the big front of the pack with a nice strong wall. Scrappers trying to hold Zombaby back in the back. Keep that pack slow. Felony Storm still trying to get out. Can't get by Tyranny. Coffin Draggers able to recycle back around and stay in front of the jammer.
Felony Storm knocked down to the inside, trying to stay on the track and fight through those front blockers. 15 seconds to go here in the power jam. Doing work on the front end of the pack as that pivots. But she's out of play. But there's 7 seconds left to go here in the power jam. And Felony Storm's trying to get around if she can. But it doesn't look like she's going to get there. No. The clock expires on the power jam. What a defensive stand by the Coffin Draggers.
What a penalty kill that was.
Wow. That was a prime opportunity for the Schoolyard Scrappers to not only take the lead, but really put some points on the board. What a defensive stand. That was a marvel. So right back to it. Coffin Draggers still in front and have not surrendered the lead as of right now. Victoria Van Gore skates for them. Pretty Hurt Machine is jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Both of them tied up in a frenetic pack right now, trying to find some purchase. And Pretty Hurt Machine able to outrun that last blocker to the front of the pack. Pretty Hurt Machine is your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Still looking to take the lead here with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Victoria Van Gore able to make her way through the pack for the Coffin Draggers. Pretty Hurt Machine blasts through as well and is now going to try to get that jammer point. Picks up that 5th point and calls off the jam, and the crowd, Schoolyard Scrappers fans, hit their feet in the crowd as the Schoolyard Scrappers take the lead. Schoolyard Scrappers 83, Coffin Draggers 79. Dolly Spartan to the jammer line for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers. Dolly Spartan quickly to the front of the track, trying to negotiate those last 2 blockers and able to get them pushed out of play, and Dolly Spartan takes over as lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Skeletina still hemmed in the pack, trying to find her way through. Pinned up on the rail. And making her way by along the rail is going to be Dolly Spartan. Devil's Advocate taking over, trying to catch Dolly Spartan now, trying to get back to the pack and keep Dolly Spartan from scoring any more points, and able to do so.
I'd say, Bill, two of the 5 fastest skaters in the league,
right?
Probably, I think. Those 2, Hollywood.
Dolly Spartan did not want to give up on that one.
Yeah.
And Devil's Advocate was determined to try to pass her.
So setting up now on the jammer line. That's 5 more points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers, by the way. Juicy Kill Tour for the Scrappers. And Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers. And Victoria Van Gore out the front of the pack, and I hear the other half of the arena cheering. Victoria Van Gore is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Gonna try to get a few points here. Gets through, gets a couple points, and calls off the jam. So the Coffin Draggers trying to put it into that run. I feel like they had been idling on 79 for quite some time, but they get 2 points on the board there to try and stem the tide a little bit.
We're seeing the same lineup of jammers, jam after jam. Devil's Advocate back out there for the Coffin Draggers. That's Pretty Hurt Machine for the Scrappers. These teams are not going to let this one go easy.
This time, neither side has much of an advantage. It looks like a pretty full pack out there as I glance at the penalty box. Both jammers trying to go high, low, high. And Devil's Advocate trying to fight her way through, but at the front of the pack, there goes Pretty Hurt Machine. And out the front of the pack, there goes the pivot for the Coffin Draggers. Wait till they come around to see who that is. Pretty Hurt Machine, meanwhile, out the front of the pack, is going to try to pick up that jammer point, tries to run along the inside and picks it up. Gets that last point as the Coffin Draggers jammer took a tumble and slid down to the infield. 5 points on the board for the Scrappers. Opens up a 12-point lead for the Schoolyard Scrappers, 93-81.
That's Dolly Spartan out there going to take the line for the Scrappers. Devil's Advocate, the Destroyer is out there for the Coffin Draggers.
The Destroyer tries to get up to the outside, tries to find an opening. I can see that pivot and able to find a way along the outside. Along the rail, there goes the Destroyer. Your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Coffin Draggers defense holding Dolly Spartan in check right now along the back of the pack. Dolly Spartan darts to the inside, able to juke out that pivot for the Coffin Draggers and clear the pack. So the Destroyer now is going to follow along behind just to make sure nothing funny happens and calls off the jam. 4 points up on the board for the Coffin Draggers. Lead gets back into single digits. Bonnie Banshee now on the jammer line for the Schoolyard Scrappers, and that is Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers. There we are, Skeletina dodging a block along the inside from Killin May Smalls. Good to see Smalls back out there. Bonnie Banshee is out and she's your lead jammer, checks over her shoulder. Bonnie Banshee with that very distinctive hockey skating style coming over to us from ice hockey. Bonnie Banshee with a fantastic move, pirouettes along the coping, along the inside. Finishes the scoring pass, calls off the jam, and then seems surprised at her own fleet-footedness. Picks up 4 points and calls off the jam, and the lead back up to 12 for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Victoria Van Gore out there on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. Pretty Hurt Machine out there for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Van Gore goes down to the low, gets knocked to the infield. Pretty Hurt Machine gets to the front of the pack, and she gets out. She's your lead jammer. Bodies flying everywhere in turn 2.
Pretty Hurt Machine trying to take advantage, but those three Coffin Draggers defenders able to get back together. Pretty Hurt Machine goes ahead and calls off the jam after picking up a few more points. 2 points on the board there for the Scrappers, gets them up to 99, so they'll be looking to break 100 here within a couple of jams, hopefully. Dolly Spartan on the jammer line for those self-same Schoolyard Scrappers.
Devil's Advocate out there for the Coffin Draggers. Speed and speed out there competing with each other tonight.
The pack comes together now, and Devil's Advocate slung off onto the infield there. Bonnie Banshee making sure to drive home the point at the front of the pack. There goes Dolly Spartan. Dolly Spartan able to get those last blockers out of play, and Dolly Spartan is your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. 4 minutes and 44 seconds to go here in the third quarter as Dolly Spartan, now mid-pack, runs into some defense along the rail. Devil's Advocate is hemmed in behind those defenders at the back of the pack and is having no luck. The crowd along the track is giving a cheer, and we've had a pass of the star for the Coffin Draggers taking over as Skeletina, and that's going to do it for the jam as it is called off by the Schoolyard Scrappers. Schoolyard Scrappers, 2 points on the board. They break the century mark. 101-85 right now, Schoolyard Scrappers, with 4 minutes to go until the quarter break.
Felony Storm out there for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
And for the Coffin Draggers, it's Victoria Van Gore.
Gore climbing along the high side by the rail, trying to get out. Nikki Badass is holding her back. Bob Villain at the front of the pack, and she's able to get by him.
Gore getting a hand there from her pivot. I see that pivot for the Coffin Draggers up there was waiting to direct traffic. There's a wall of Schoolyard Scrappers blockers at the front of the pack now, and Gore's going to be doing battle with them with some help from her blocker. Tries to fight her way along the inside and keeps a foot on the track there. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, Felony Storm shoved off onto the infield there. Excellent block there along the inside by that Coffin Draggers blocker. That was Laura Stabs. No surprise there. So Felony Storm still not able to get clear as we have 5 seconds to go here on the jam clock. Now Felony Storm out of the pack. It's all academic though anyhow as the clock comes to a close on that jam.
Been notified the miners are closing the popcorn stand, so last call for miners popcorn. If you need some popcorn, need a little salty fix, get on over there.
Pretty Hurt Machine jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers. That's Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers.
Devil's Advocate? I've been waiting to call the 50-50 for a while, too.
Once again, a tightly contested pack. And fighting her way to the front is your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Once again, it's Pretty Hurt Machine. And there goes Devil's Advocate, rocketing her way right through the pack. And that causes Pretty Hurt Machine to finish her scoring pass and call the jam. So 4 points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers. It's going to be Dolly Spartan for the Scrappers.
That's Skeletina out there for the Coffin Draggers. Lined up on the low side. Knocked to the infield by Bonnie Banshee. Again. Says, I'm going to try something different now. Tries it on the high side. Knocked to the infield again by Bonnie Banshee and Maiden Asia.
Yeah, both jammers really struggling here to try to find some openings. The pass
knocked into the rail by Bonnie Banshee, and then
Skeletina trying to find anything along the rail. This jam's already halfway over. Tightly contested pack now, a lot of defense there. Skeletina up to the outside trying to find an opening and darting along the inside and finally finding an opening is Dolly Spartan with 14 seconds left on the jam clock. So Dolly Spartan is going to try to get around here and see what she can do. And Dolly Spartan runs up into the back wall of defenders. The Coffin Draggers jammer out of the pack as well. And that'll do it for that jam. Three points up on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers there. Picking up a few points there. And we are going to have, indeed, it is going to be a power jam. Power jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Pretty Hurt Machine out there to do the honors in what is going to be the last jam of the third quarter. So the Schoolyard Scrappers are going to try to go into the fourth quarter on an extra high note here. So Pretty Hurt Machine able to dodge that last blocker. Looks like that was, I believe that was Skeletina down there trying to slide down and block her with the hip. Pretty Hurt Machine able to get through. We got the minimum out there right now. Just 2 skaters out there for the Coffin Draggers. Pretty Hurt Machine held up briefly. Those 2 Coffin Dragger skaters able to get reunited there on the front end of the pack, as there's only 3 blockers out there for the Schoolyard Scrappers as well. So now the game of cat and mouse begins. Oh, big collision there. Big collision there, and that's going to throw a monkey wrench into things. And a big Pretty Hurt Machine just off the track there, absorbed a block. And goes ahead and finishes that scoring pass, and that's going to take us into the quarter break. So it's a 15-point power jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And as we step aside for the quarter break, the Schoolyard Scrappers have their biggest lead of the evening, 123. Coffin Draggers 94. And we'll turn things over to Bill with the pink raffle ticket.
Hey, folks, if you're looking for a sign that you should buy a 50-50 raffle ticket, the 50-50 raffle is up to $420. That's $420 in the 50-50 raffle. perhaps you might want to buy a raffle ticket. Speaking of raffle tickets, we've got the other raffle as well. Pink raffle ticket, number 897844. Number 897844. I got a prize waiting for you up here.
Stretching it out and like laying it on my tea jug in front of me so that I can quit grabbing the mic with it. Should Vava be running on slanted? Should Vava be running? Okay.
She's gonna do whatever she's gonna do.
Should Vava be running and 2 on a bank surface and then 3 jumping off? All right? That's me talking. Yes.
She totally skipped the move. Like she
Yeah, I know exactly. This is me talking and being like, hey, you should probably take it easy and not push yourself. Running down the track. Like, would you stop? I'll have to sick Dora on her afterwards.
All right, folks, put your hands together. Got a couple more minor assaults out there. Going to give away some T-shirts. Or not. Hello? She ran the wrong way.
What happened? You had one job. Well, 2, run and throw.
Taylor Terror out there. Going to give away some T-shirts. Put your hands together.
See, now she gets the job done.
Right.
Sister's running around like, hey, cheer for me. Cheer for me. And she's like, here's a shirt, here's a shirt.
Yeah, you're done. See ya.
Were you up here earlier when I was trying to figure out whose kid? I don't think you were, because you would have known. You were involved in mine. I was like, I was talking with Katie the other night, and we were talking about Black Eyed Peas, and I was like, yeah, she hangs out around the booth a lot. And she's like, is she Bill's kid? I swear. I'm like, no, Bill's kid is Amelia Dermark. And she goes, that's what I thought. Yeah, from like, from practices. It's like, yeah. Whose kid is? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, Morning. They told me when I asked earlier, but it was just like, we're sitting there and I'm like, no idea. She's just there. She throws shirts and she hangs out and shoots the breeze with us up in the announcer's booth a lot. I have no clue. Yeah. Just hangs out at the top of the stairs usually when Bill's up there. Anyway, no, now it's all sorted. I got the whole family tree. So yeah, usually at some point I'm like, I figured out Amelia when like she walked by and said something real snarky to you. She walked by and I was like, yeah. You muttered something and I'm like, okay, they know each other. I hope. That's what I said. Usually it's seeing somebody get in somebody's car or hopping out. I'm like, okay, I placed that. But I'm just like, she's just there and then she leaves. I've never seen her with anybody.
All right, Derby fans, are you ready for one last quarter of Derby action?
All right, we are ready to get back to the action here. Let's hear it from the Coffin Draggers fans in the house. largely, there we are. And then how about the Schoolyard Scrappers supporters still with us this evening? We are ready to get underway here. 15 minutes left in the season for one of these teams and 15 minutes until a ticket to the finals for one of these teams. And it's all going to be sorted in about 15 minutes of game action. Schoolyard Scrappers in front by 29 points right now. And both jammers out of the pack. Took me a second to decipher that. It's going to be Tyranny and Pretty Hurt Machine. And they were content to just get back to the pack and let the chips fall where they may. So we will get the score here. 1 point for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And a full 4 points for the Coffin Draggers there. So the Draggers picking up 4 points on the jam.
Victoria Van Gore coming to the line for the Coffin Draggers. That's Dolly Spartan out there for the Scrappers. Both teams sitting one skater. So it's a thinner pack out there. Victoria Van Gore trying the low. Knocked to the infield by Nikki Badass. Bob Villan and Nikki Badass doing a good job of holding Van Gore back. But she pushes them out of play, and she's out. She's your lead jammer right now.
So Victoria Van Gore looking to get the Coffin Draggers up over the century mark here. And looks like she's going to maybe accomplish that. Not sure. Yeah, there she is now. So trying to fight our way through. There along the outside goes Dolly Spartan, so that's going to force the issue now for Victoria Van Gore. Going to try to finish a scoring pass. Shoved up into the rail by Bob Villan one more time. One of the superior defenders on this Schoolyard Scrapper squad. Victoria Van Gore calls it off. And Victoria Van Gore she got all 5 of those points, so she was keeping track. So 5 points for the Coffin Draggers. Pushes them up over the 100-point mark. However, we are going to have a challenge by the Coffin Draggers. So we'll wait to see what is scribbled on the whiteboard of justice.
Looks like Coffin Draggers are challenging an above-the-shoulders block by their jammer.
All right, so Coffin Draggers are going to challenge a penalty on their jammer that would lead to a potentially damaging power jam at this point in the game for the Schoolyard Scrappers. At least damaging to the Coffin Draggers' chances. The Schoolyard Scrappers would love it.
Hey, folks, going to take a second to talk to you about Lost Dutchman Tattoo. Lost Dutchman Tattoo Shop specializes in various styles, from realism to traditional. You can even customize your own tattoo, and walk-ins are accepted. They're located at 4121 North 19th Avenue. That's the east side of 19th Avenue, north of Indian School Road. Their raffle prize donation is up to $300 tonight. So if you need a tattoo, you want to buy a raffle ticket, we're still going to give away a tattoo by Uncle Josh. Lost Dutchman Tattoo. Hey, folks, I don't know what you're doing next weekend, but next weekend, our fundraiser, the Doomsday Valkyries on April 27th, are hosting Apocalypse 2019. Go hang out with your favorite post-apocalyptic warrior women at Boycott Bar in the Melrose District for a taco fundraiser that's going to set your taste buds on fire. This year's Apocalypse will also host an epic raffle. Don't miss out. Show up at Boycott Bar on April 27th at 6 p.m. for tacos, agua frescas, and raffle prizes.
So the official word from the infield is up to us. Penalty upheld, challenge unsuccessful. So the Coffin Draggers forfeit a timeout, leaving them with 1, as do the Schoolyard Scrappers. So both of them with 1 timeout left to go. So it's a power jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Ballistic Buffalo on the line all by her lonesome here. The Schoolyard Scrappers are really going to try to build on their lead here as best they can. However, they were able to cause the Schoolyard Scrappers to put up a goose egg in an earlier power jam, so we will wait and see what happens here. Ballistic Buffalo trying to get clear and knocked off onto the infield by Laura Stabs. Tyranny, excuse me. 27 versus 23.
Coffin Draggers trying to keep on recycling and stay in front of the Scrapper Jammer. Ballistic Buffalo has to keep on passing the same people over and over again.
So there it is, Ballistic Buffalo now able to clear the pack, but just 18 seconds left here in the Schoolyard Scrappers Power Jam as the crowd begins to get behind their respective teams with 10 seconds to go in the Power Jam. Big collision there, trying to make her way through. Ballistic Buffalo trying to pick up those points and fight her way through the front end of the pack. Big collision, gasp from the crowd, and we'll wait and see how many points she could pick up. Whatever the final tally was, another stalwart defensive effort by the Coffin Draggers. Only 3 points on the Power Jam there for the Schoolyard Scrappers, so the Coffin Draggers definitely coming together at the right time on defense there and able to limit the damage from that Power Jam to a paltry 3 points. Pretty Hurt Machine's going to be jamming for the Scrappers now.
That's Devil's Advocate out there for the Coffin Draggers. See what these two can do.
Both of them patiently approaching the pack now, waiting to see what their blockers can do for them. Pretty Hurt Machine spun off onto the infield behind Laura Stabs, this time I'm sure. And there goes Devil's Advocate quickly to the front of the pack. Devil's Advocate, your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Although Pretty Hurt Machine got out, she's trailing her by about half the track. Devil's Advocate having to skate fast to try to get up to the pack. Picks up a couple points, gets knocked off the track. Gets back on the track just as Pretty Hurt Machine was getting to the back of the pack, but she was able to call off that jam.
Devil's Advocate puts 1 point on the board there for the Coffin Draggers. Able to execute a jump like that earlier, but that time Nikki Badass was laying in wait. And that is a defender you don't want to try to win a physics battle with.
Both teams seem to be down a skater.
Dolly Spartan is on the jammer line for the Scrappers. And
Victoria Van Gore, out there for the Draggers. Van Gore trying to run up high on the high side by the rail. Dolly Spartan being held back by Tyranny and the Panda Face Killer. Horchata tries to get in there to break up those two blockers, try to get her jammer free. And it looks like it's working. Dolly Spartan able to get out first as your lead jammer, but Victoria Van Gore is hot on her tail.
Dolly Spartan calling out some blocking assignments coming down the back straightaway there, looking for an opening, trying to put a couple points on the board, and literally does, but 2 points on the board also for Victoria Van Gore in the back end, not giving up on that jam, so negates it, a net gain of none.
Victoria Van Gore skating both flat track and bank track. She's very active. She's able to pick up a bunch of speed right there, and she was able to scoop by on the low, pick up those 2 points.
Juicy Kill Tour now for the Schoolyard Scrappers, and that is Devil's Advocate again for the Coffin Draggers. And Juicy Kill Tour able to find her way through the pack, and she is your lead jammer. Devil's Advocate out as well and trying to gain some ground. Now Juicy Kill Tour up into a blocker. Big collision there in the back straightaway. Juicy Kill Tour tries to get her points and call the jam. 2 points up for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Felony Storm jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers now, and Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers.
Both jammers working hard to get out of the pack. Skeletina able to be the first one to emerge victorious. Felony Storm knocked to the infield.
So Skeletina now going to try to get around and get some points on the board. Defense is trying to hold in Felony Storm down to just 2 blockers there at the front end of the pack. Skeletina now at the back of the pack. Collision and a blocker for the Scrappers down onto the infield.
Felony Storm finally gets out of the pack. Just the Skeletina's working her way through it. Calls off that jam.
So 4 points on the board there for Skeletina, able to pick up those 4 and call it off. We're about halfway through the 4th quarter. Schoolyard Scrappers still clinging to that 21-point lead that they have maintained for the first half of this 4th quarter. Dolly Spartan on the jammer line for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And the Destroyer for the Coffin Draggers. And Dolly Spartan finds an opening, found a crease in the defense, and able to race right to the front. Dolly Spartan, your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Destroyer now trying to find her way through those defenders at the front of the pack, gets them out of play, and she's through. Dolly Spartan into some defense there at the back end of the pack, with the Destroyer now coming around to force the issue. And Dolly Spartan was able to outrun Zora La Bruja to the front of the pack.
Trying to hang on and keep blocking her one last time.
So another 4 points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers. It's going to be Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers and Bonnie Banshee for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And Bonnie Banshee down along the inside, and she is out of the pack and on her way. Lead jammer for the Scrappers. Victoria Van Gore out of the pack for the Coffin Draggers as well to force the issue. Bonnie Banshee's going to have a crack at a scoring pass here.
Nikki Badass trying to break up those Coffin Draggers.
And Bonnie Banshee took a tumble there off onto the infield, gets up to reestablish, and calls off the jam. Three points up on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers there. And we're under 6 minutes to go. Schoolyard Scrappers still holding that lead. The clock is quickly becoming the enemy of the Coffin Draggers here. Skeletina trying to fight her way through the pack for the Coffin Draggers, but there goes Felony Storm. No, it is Pretty Hurt Machine. I was right the first time. Pretty Hurt Machine for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And finishes off a scoring pass and is going to be coming around for more. Skeletina bumped off onto the infield there by the Schoolyard Scrappers defense. Pretty Hurt Machine now looking for an opening, finds it along the outside, and she's able to get through on another scoring pass. Under 5 minutes to go. Skeletina out of the pack now for the Coffin Draggers to finally maybe staunch the bleeding in this jam a little bit for the Coffin Draggers. Gets that star back on. And Pretty Hurt Machine calls off the jam. And we've got a team timeout. Schoolyard Scrappers are going to take their last timeout and take a second to talk things over.
A lot of penalties up on the board right there, including one on the jammer. So this next jam, it might be pretty important to the Coffin Draggers. Hey folks, going to talk to you about Wilderness Brewing Company. Join the Arizona Derby Dames at our new after-party spot. We will now party at the Wilderness Brewing downtown Phoenix. It's located at 201 East Roosevelt Street. Head over in a few minutes to hang out, eat, and drink with the Dames. That's going to Wilderness Brewing Company this time. Not going to the other place anymore. We're going to try something new. Wilderness Brewing's got a nice outdoor patio and a good feel. And besides, they make beer there. How bad can that be? Also going to tell you about Above and Beyond Pallet Creations. They're repurposing pallets into art. The creator of all of our signage here in the Hall of Dames. For information or commission work, see Bobby Ross after the bout. He's the coach of the Schoolyard Scrappers. Got Devil's Advocate coming to the line to skate this power jam. Schoolyard Scrappers are skating 2 skaters. Nikki Badass and Bob Villain out there going to do the honors. And Devil's Advocate starts off by getting right by his Nikki Badass.
So you can definitely see the Schoolyard Scrappers took a second there, knew this was going to be a very, very light bout. There are more Schoolyard Scrapper posteriors in the penalty box than there are skaters on wheels right now on the track. And Devil's Advocate able to blast her way through the pack, and she's going to be coming around looking like Apollo Anton Ono out there trying to get around the track as fast as possible. And blocked off onto the infield there. Nikki Badass able to get in the way and knock Devil's Advocate off stride, and then puts her up into the rail for good measure. So Devil's Advocate back up now and going to try to get around.
Coming around for her third scoring pass.
And able to make her way around Nikki Badass that time. She's going to really hustle here with 6 seconds to go in the power jam. Try to get around again for one more. At the urging of her bench, trying to get through one more time. Able to find an opening there. Excellent, excellent blocking on that last one by the Coffin Draggers. Just parted that like the Red Sea. And it is a 20-point power jam for the Coffin Draggers. Schoolyard Scrappers still in front. 3 minutes to go. They're in front by 22. It's going to be Dolly Spartan for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
That's the destroyer out there for the Coffin Draggers. Going to try to make some things happen.
The destroyer out there now for the Coffin
Destroyer
Draggers.
out there passing that star off to Victoria Van Gore. Victoria Van Gore now working her way through the back of the pack, trying to get to the front.
Skaters tumbling every which way as we go under 3 minutes to go. Victoria Van Gore is still pinned in against the rail, and she's trying to get those defenders pushed out of play, but they spin her down to the infield. Quickly up back on her skates now, Victoria Van Gore, but there goes Dolly Spartan to the front of the pack, and she's your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Victoria Van Gore out just behind her. So Dolly Spartan approaching the pack and goes ahead and calls off the jam. Schoolyard Scrappers more interested in point prevention and clock wastage right now than they are about scoring any more points than necessary. 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go in this season for one of these teams. Ballistic Buffalo on the jammer line for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Yeah, that's Devil's Advocate out there for the Coffin Draggers. Both teams are down a blocker. You get their lineups right in the box.
And this jam is underway. Devil's Advocate looked like she had a clear path to the front, but Nikki Badass closed the door and bumped her off onto the infield. Spinning her way up to the outside and trying to find her way to the front of the pack. And there she goes to the front of the pack, and clearing the pack is Ballistic Buffalo. It is your lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers once again.
Devil's Advocate, look at that, right on her tail.
Devil's Advocate gets out to try to force the issue, but it definitely looks like the Scrappers are at the very least going to keep the Coffin Draggers from putting points on the board and burning more time off the clock. Ballistic Buffalo does just that. Catching up to the pack, and got up to the pack and called it off. No points for either side. We've got an official timeout, so the regulators are going to get everything cleared up here and make sure we've got everything accounted for. 78 seconds to go. Schoolyard Scrappers still in front by 22. It's 152-130.
All right, folks, if you like roller derby action, mark your calendars. The Season 14 Championship bout is going to be held on May 4th here at the Hall of Dames. We're going to have a mini bout with the minor assaults at 6 p.m. And after a short warm-up, the two teams playing for the trophy are going to play all for the rest of the night. It's going to be a very competitive, hard-hitting game. Don't miss out on what all the cool kids are doing 2 Saturdays from now. So we got tacos next weekend, Clifton, and then we got championships the weekend after that.
Yeah, my calendar's full.
My calendar is full.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. I'll have to reschedule everything else. The tacos and derby. So here we are. Game reset. 1 minute, 18 seconds to go. Your Schoolyard Scrappers in front, 152-130. These two teams met earlier in the year, of course, during the regular season. And the Coffin Draggers are able to pull off a 1-point victory at the time. How prescient was that going to be? We did not know until these teams were scheduled to meet in the playoffs once they finished second and third in the standings once again. So, Schoolyard Scrappers in the driver's seat. As we wait to get back to the action here, regulators making sure everything is accounted for. We'll get a full accounting here on the whiteboard of justice momentarily. But we get back to it. It's going to be the destroyer out there for the Coffin Draggers and Pretty Hurt Machine for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And the jam is underway. The destroyer spun off to the infield there. Excellent defense by Horchata on the back end. And the Schoolyard Scrappers once again in the driver's seat. Your lead jammer is Pretty Hurt Machine, number 34 for the Schoolyard Scrappers. The Destroyer gets through the pack on the front end. Pretty Hurt Machine picks up her points and is going to burn some time off the clock here. Destroyer tries to force the issue and force them to call off the jam to get one more crack at it here. So we are ready to go in the next jam. What could be the last jam in regulation? Dolly Spartan for the Schoolyard Scrappers and Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. Jam is underway. Just 15 seconds left on the game clock at this point. Dolly Spartan is in the middle of the pack and appears content to let time tick by, but now that the jammer is clear, now she's going to get into action. So your lead jammer is going to be the Panda Face Killer out there, your team captain, trying to stay in front of Dolly Spartan as the game clock expires. Panda Face Killer now goes ahead and calls off the jam, with Dolly Spartan being persistent right behind her. So we're going to have to wait and see here and check the penalty situation and see if any penalty jams are forthcoming. And that is going to do it with that final whistle. The championship bracket is set. Your season 14 championship bout in 2 weeks. The Runaway Brides versus the Schoolyard Scrappers. Your Schoolyard Scrappers victorious, 156-130. Schoolyard Scrappers come and they get justice for a loss earlier in the year. We're looking to build on their success after going undefeated in the regular season last year, only to lose in the championship finals to the Runaway Brides, and took a hard loss early in the season from the Coffin Draggers, who served notice that they were here. And now the Coffin Draggers on their way around, and a great cheer from the crowd on a season well done for the Coffin Draggers. They were in the top 3 mix all season long. And absolutely fought their hearts out tonight. Nothing to be ashamed of with that effort. They came out and they hit the Schoolyard Scrappers hard, and they hit them fast early. And they made the Scrappers have to come from behind for this one tonight. And gave them everything they wanted. So what a way to close out the night.
All right, folks, get